Hi, it's Joe Mazumdar of Exploration Insights at the pre-PDAC Metals Investment Forum in Toronto. And with me, I've got Jim Gowans, Interim CEO of Trilogy Metals.
Good to see you again, Joe.
Good to see you, Jim. And we had the coronavirus. We're sitting in the middle of this and the plunge in some metals and the negative sentiment on some because of the demand on with respect to China being a big consumer of commodities.
Right.
So what is the dichotomy between, the sentiment potentially negative right now for copper, but what we're seeing in the industry with respect to a lack of projects in the pipeline? I
can't get too. We're taking the hit with the rest of the marketplace, but for Trilogy Metals, it's a bit of an irrelevant thing because we're out about 5 years. We know that the demand for copper and the opportunities to find really good grade copper deposits is very small, and
in your also in low risk
and in low risk areas like we are in Alaska. When we're out 5 years. So for us, yes, the market's going a bit crazy right now, but the fundamentals for us at 5 years will be really, really strong.
So South 32 actually came in December, and so what do you think their justification for coming into the joint venture and putting in, 130 million into the joint venture? 145.
Yeah. So they came in early. I've worked with them before.
On Arizona Mining.
They're very long-term thinkers. That's the reason why they went in here 3 years ago on an option to spend time exploration and make the call. But it was easy to get them to make the decision earlier because for them, to do that and get all the setup for the JV ahead of our program this summer was the more practical thing to do.
Right.
So that's the reason why they did it. They just wanted to make sure they get all the legal and everything else sorted out, and so they could concentrate on the summer program. So
there's also potentially a lack of development assets at this level of you're at pre-feasibility stage level right now with Arctic. Bornite's more resource stage, and now you're going to put out a feasibility study. But how many development projects at this stage are there that will fall into that 2025 production timeline in low risk geopolitical?
There aren't a lot. In fact, I think we're probably the only one that has we're a 2% copper deposit at Arctic, and you're virtually there and a much bigger deposit at Bornite. So that's almost unique. There's a couple in the Congo. That's the only other place in the world, and so for us in a safe jurisdiction, it's a major opportunity.
But when South 32 initially formed this joint venture, their interest was more in the copper-cobalt.
They were more interested in the Bornite, the copper cobalt, and then once they got into Trilogy Metals and saw that the Trilogy over the period of time is basically tied up about 95% of the VMS belt. I think then they realized that this was a real gem, that there was so many more opportunities, and that's why we started turning our exploration dollars over to Sunshine and Arctic, and this summer we're going to be looking at a couple more opportunities. So, yeah.
So for the viewers, the Arctic deposit is what we call a volcanogenic massive sulfide deposit, which tends to happen in clusters, like the Flin Flon district.
The Noran-Duran.
And your feasibility study that you're doing is just on one.
Just on one.
And now recently you've been drilling the Sunshine prospect that nobody really knew a lot of, and now there's a lot of interest being generated by that one.
Yeah, and the Sunshine was a prospect we knew of historically, but we did some more drilling there. Its mineralogy is very similar to the Arctic, so any kind of development as a deposit is just basically mining infrastructure and then the road to the Arctic processing plant. Yeah. So that's a fantastic opportunity, and we know from our geophysics that we did this summer that there's a bigger anomaly that's just offset where we've been drilling. So we're pretty excited. We're going in.
So we'll see in terms of catalysts. To open this district up, the big thing that's pending is the road permit, right?
The road is critical. The road is what I call a binary catalyst, because when I was building Red Dog Mine, we knew about the Arctic and Bornite deposits, but we knew that they were stranded assets. They were a world-class asset that's stranded because there's no infrastructure.
Right.
And the magic of what's Trilogy Metals is the fact that we have the state commitment to build the road into the historic Ambler mining district, and now the concentrates can be taken to the marketplace, and they can go out to an ice-free port.
Right, and this permit is one of your big catalysts coming up. That's within like a month or two.
It is. So at the end of March, we know at the end of March that they're going to submit the final EIS, and then typically it's about 30 days later that they come out with the record of decision for the road. So that's pretty exciting news, yes.
But I guess the fact that South 32 signed into the joint venture without the permit suggests that they're rather confident that they'll get it.
They are. It gets back to the long-term thinking. They know that months or weeks in terms of permitting is basically irrelevant in their time frames, right?
So in terms of this year coming up, besides the road permit, which is obviously significant, what other things could a potential investor look forward to in Trilogy Metals?
Oh, so we got lots. So we're doing Trilogy doing a feasibility study for the Arctic deposit, and we'll get that out in mid-April. We're also looking for a permanent CEO to replace myself and Rick, and put that in. And we've set up the JV, and we're actually putting in a team in Alaska.
That's right. Yeah. So
that'll get done over the year. We're going to be a bit more relaxed about that because we don't want to interfere with the summer work program.
Right.
So there's lots of catalysts that are happening, and of course we've laid out about a 2-year program to do the infill drilling at the Arctic, to go after some of these exciting targets like Sunshine and Center of the Universe and a couple others. So I think it's going to be like a constant stream of really exciting news, and we will initiate permitting for the Arctic as well.
Oh, right, after the feasibility study comes in, right? Okay,
Yeah.
and that you think is probably like a 3-year process.
We think it's about a 3-year. We're targeting about a 3-year, so that's why we've laid out the drilling program over a 2-year basis to do the infill to get up to proven reserves for Arctic, because we know that we have a bit of time to do that, and then we can deploy the drills on some of these other targets in the VMS belt.
So how long would it take to construct that road once they get the permit?
So we've talked to the engineers. We only need the Pioneer or the Winter Road to basically get started to bring in equipment, but the actual construction of the road would take about 4 years.
Right. Okay.
So the detailed engineering, once they get the record
There's
decision,
a complete road, like to
complete road. Okay. Then they would mobilize. They'd start at both ends, one from the Dalton Highway and one from the big Dahl airstrip we have in our valley.
Okay.
And then you just go both sides to the middle.
Okay, so plenty of news flow coming up that's funded by the partner, not you, and basically trying to get a development project into play by 2025 where there's a gap in projects for copper. Yeah,
when you look about 5 years, and not even under the current demands for copper, there's a shortage, about 25, 26, and then if you put on top of that all the movement towards more electrification, renewable, which is going to require more copper, the demand is even higher. So it's very exciting. All right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Jim. You're more than welcome. That's Trilogy Metals and Interim CEO Jim Gowans. Plenty of news flow to come from the copper development story in Alaska. Thanks again. It's Joe Mazumdar from Exploration Insights at the Pre-PDAC Metals Investment Forum in Toronto. Thank you for watching.